German culture is really something else. I mean, I'm sure any culture you get to know a little bit about that's different from your own is going to seem a little interesting or strange to you. But German people are just downright funny sometimes, but really cool, good people. Kind of what I mean by this, stop being around the bush, is just the fact that they're really, really forward, honest people. If you approach someone on the street, you say like, "Hey, you want to talk about this?" or "Hey, can you this?" If you're trying to sell them something or tell them about something that they're not interested in, then they're just going to let you know right away. They're going to kind of be like, no time or no interest. They'll tell you straightforward what they're thinking. They won't beat around the bush and pretend to be interested in something they're not. That being said, they're also some of the most helpful people you'll meet. I can't even tell you how many stories I know about friends of mine that have either gotten lost somewhere in Germany or, I don't know, just had some kind of problem they needed help with, that German people were so eager and willing to jump up and help them with whatever they were doing. I personally have a story about people being incredibly helpful. One thing that happened to me one time is my friend and I were on a bus and we were trying to get to someone's house kind of out in the countryside, away from the main city where we lived. And normally we take this one certain bus that left from the train station from the same place, same time, every day. But this one day when we were trying to get to this guy's house, we were running behind schedule and we missed the bus that we needed. And so we were checking the schedule, looking for other buses that would go to this area, and we found another one that said it went to the same city that we needed to get to. So we hop on this bus and we're off. And we're driving, and we're kind of watching the stops to try and make sure that we're going to the right place. What we didn't realize was the city we were trying to get to had two portions. It was kind of divided into two suburbs, and they had two different names. And the guy we were trying to visit lived in the half with one name, and the bus we were on went to the other half. And so not only did we not realize we were going to the wrong half of the city, but because the bus stop only said the name of that suburb and didn't say the name of the city, we went right past it. We just stayed on that bus until after a while it started getting a little dark because we had left close to evening, and we kind of realized we missed our stop somewhere. I don't think we're going the right way. I think we're going the wrong way. And most of the people had gotten off the bus by this point, and we're getting pretty far out in the countryside where we're starting to pass through little tiny towns where you're not even sure if more than 10 people live there anymore, because they're just kind of abandoned, empty looking places. So we get up to the front of the bus and we ask the bus driver, "Hey, when are we getting to this city?" And he says, "That city? We passed that like 40 minutes ago. Where the heck were you guys?" And we're like, "Oh, we must have not heard it, I guess." He's like, "Well, you're in trouble because it's back there, so I don't know what to tell you." And we're like, "That's okay, we'll just stay on the bus till it turns around and goes back the other way, and we'll just go home." And the bus driver tells us, "You can't do that either, because this bus doesn't go back. Like, the end of this route is my last stop for the night, and then I have to go park the bus and go home." And so we're like, then is there anywhere you could drop us off where there's a train station or some type of public transportation so we can make it back? Because we don't even know anyone who lives out here. We have no way of getting back home if we can't find a train or something. And he just tells us, nope, there's probably, no, there's no trains either. The only thing you could maybe do is call a taxi. But let me tell you, so I'm not going to make you guys call a taxi because you're going to pay $50 to get back to the city, and looking at the two of you, you guys probably don't have $50. So at the end of the stop, end of the line, I inspect the bus, then I take it back, park it for the night, and then the city you were actually trying to get to is where I live, so I drive home in my car to that city. So what I'll do is you guys just stay on the bus when I take it back and park it, and I'll drive you over to the city, and then you just gotta find your way home from there. And he was just the nicest guy, super helpful. Like, if he hadn't done that, we probably would have spent the night in some forest somewhere. It was that kind of situation. And this guy was just so amazing. He made sure we were taken care of, where on our way back to the city, he made sure that we called people and had a way to get back home before he would leave us. He left us at a train stop. He made sure that we'd be able to make it to our apartment before he left. And that's just one example of how helpful Germans can be. They'll go out of their way to take care of you if they feel like you're a good person who's not trying to trick them or sell them something. And it's not just that way with strangers, but it's also that way with friends as well. Germans are just so ready to invest in people if they feel like they have a good reason to invest in you. And so that's just one of the really cool things about German culture.
I think one of the other neat things about Germany is meeting people from all over the world. Being from America, people always say that America is the melting pot of the world and that there's a lot of diversity here. But that's magnified in Germany. There's people from all over the world, from the Middle East, from Asia, Australia, and the United States. It's good to be able to teach these people. I got to teach a Chinese man that hadn't heard of Christianity before I started talking to him about it. And he'd just come to the United States. And we had to teach him how to pray and teach him about God and our concept of the resurrection and Jesus Christ. And not only that, but I mean, how Christianity views these things as a whole, but also how we view it as a church. And I think that's one of the greatest things about being a missionary is you learn to connect with people, and on all different levels and all different playing fields and all different life backgrounds. And it was really neat to be able to teach people from where they were at and learn what their needs were and what their goals were and help them fulfill them and teach them to gain a relationship with God in addition to gaining a relationship with us. And that was really beneficial.
So in Germany, it is very rude to have your hands under the table. No one knows what your hands are doing down there. So it's easiest to have them up top. Well, it's not even easiest. It's polite. It's just polite. And there's a couple rules with silverware that are kind of tricky. So you have your fork and your knife. If you're finished, you set them facing this way on the side of the plate, and that's how they know you're done. If you're still eating, you cross them on the top of the plate, and that's how you show, like, I'm just taking a little break, but I will be eating the rest of this. And they do follow that very strictly. They will pay attention. Also, you don't eat until your host invites you to, and they usually do that by saying Guten Appetit. So it's, and so then you wait until they say that, you wait until everyone's seated, and once they say that, then you are allowed to eat. Or sometimes if it's more casual, they'll tell you to just go ahead and eat. But otherwise, just wait. As far as other manners go, manners are very, very important in Germany. They show that you are educated, they show that you are polite, and they take them very seriously. And a couple that it's just easier to follow. One of which quite a few of our missionaries were excited about this, is if you have a runny nose, do not sit and sniff over and over and over again. Just blow your nose as loud as you can. Get it done. And that's a big thing for them. It's very rude if you just sit there and sniff at them forever. And this is one of those culturally acceptable things all over Germany. Handshakes. When you walk into a room, you shake everyone's hand once to just kind of greet everyone. And if you're sick, you don't handshake. You don't touch. You put your hands up like this, tell them you're sick, and they all understand. So there's rules and manners in Germany are very, very important, and it's important to know what you're getting into that way, because you can really offend someone if you're not careful.
Germany has been through 2 world wars, and they were both really hard on Germany. The First World War, Germany was like punished to pay for and like fix up everything that happened in Europe, and they weren't necessarily, you know, responsible for all of it, but it put them into a lot of debt, and it put them like way poor country, and it was really hard on Germany. Of course, that set them up for the Nazi regime in World War II, which Hitler was part of that, and he turned out to be a really bad guy, and a lot of Germans didn't know that when it was happening. They didn't know he was bad and what was happening to all the Jews. Anyway, so Germany has been through a lot of really hard experiences with government and with war, and they have seen a lot of suffering. A lot of people are super aware of that, and they don't trust big promises. They don't trust big groups of people. Like religion is a big part of that, but also like big governmental promises and stuff like that. They just don't trust anything that seems to be too good. It's just hard for them to see that. But they are a very hardworking country, and they do like take a lot of responsibility to like build themselves back up, or like, you know, they really like the idea of just being able to work and being able to accomplish and getting themselves out of the hard times that they've seen. So there's such a strong, a strong culture because of that. And because of that, I think Germany is a kind of a refuge now for other countries, because the government they take care of everyone there. It's kind of a socialist type of feel. Everyone likes to be fairly treated, and they don't have a lot of homeless people on the street because the government will like make sure that you get a certain amount of, you know, money, or if you're allowed to be in the country, they will take care of you. So there's not a lot of homeless people on the street. There are poor people, but they are taken care of. And because of that situation, like the stability of the country now, a lot of people, I think it's like the number 2 place or the number 1 place in Europe to immigrate to. There's a lot of people from like Turkey, or a lot of people from, that speak Arabic, or I met like people from France and people from Italy, and it's just super multicultural. Especially in Berlin, you're going to find a lot of different cultures. Even like in other cities around the area, there's going to be lots and lots of different cultures. I probably give out like on a regular basis like 30 languages. You know, you just go home and you find the language and you give it to them, of Books of Mormons. And so yeah, there's a lot of different cultures that you run into, and a lot of languages that you can't communicate with, so it's kind of difficult. But yeah, it's a super cool. I didn't expect to run into so many different cultures in Germany. So.